and the ancestors are looking out for us. Rod Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under it.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young.
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown letter. Peace.
Young
Unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, y'all,
So
this
this-
about to go ahead, Rod. Go ahead, Rod.
So this is a tribal communication to all tribes to remind us of our culture. Notice the agent is notice the principle using the time-stamped archival format of social media platform. All social media platforms is accepted as a legitimate form of outreach for a public notice to be recognized. Every time you see the chief, be it Big Chief Rod Hayes, Chief Elder, or Chief Warhorse, Chief Empress Chaka Redbird, any other chief speaking in the public domain and in a public forum is automatically noticed to agent is noticed to principal, whether we recite it or not. This is for all of the clans because we need to understand that they demonized and villainized our original culture because we was in a conjure war against secret societies that use high magic and sorcery to subjugate people psychologically and spiritually so that they can physically dominate them. Well, Big Mama Baby Boy and all of these mama boys across the land, we know that the best remedy is to restore our matriarchy and restore our original culture. What they call religion, we didn't have religion. We had systems of spiritual development, and the most villainized, demonized, and the most popular of our cultural spiritual training systems is called the Voodoo, right? And then they have the another form called Hoodoo, which relies on what we call sound earth magic, right? So these was our original systems of spiritual development before the colonizer ever even knew he had hair on his ass. So let's go over some of the posts that I put up, Elder, while we waiting on the brother to come in. That's going to set the foundation for the Voodoo Chief to arrive in raw form. So for years, I've been telling people, if they ask you what Rod Hayes is doing about our condition, tell them voodoo. Now look at the date. Can you read the date, Elder? Top left corner. May 30th, 2020. In 2020, I was approximately 2 years deep in disseminating information. And this was the question I was posing to the tribes. If the oppressor fear voodoo, why we run from it instead of embrace our power source? Right? Let that sink in. They've been telling us, ooh, be scared of voodoo. Stay away from voodoo. Voodoo is our system of spiritual development and developing our spiritual body so that we able to effectively fend off the negative conjures and even understand the sorcery involved in their arrival. Check me out. What's the date, Elder? January 11, 2021. This is Channel 7 Guerrilla News. Voodoo wins again. When Haiti spills the blood of the black pig in Florida, they still haven't done that ritual. But we found the heirs of the Duddy Bookman, which is Orisha Stone, and my chief of staff, Rising Phoenix, and Christina was the sacrifice for the Haitian revolutionary success. And they had to get the spirit off her because it was riding her so bad that everybody thought she was going insane. But once they did the recognition ritual for her, she's been doing way better. Also, this ties into Rashad Jamal being in the custody of the French, because you got to remember the Georgia, Northern Georgia was part of the Louisiana Purchase Agreement that was a deal brokered between two foreign powers about occupying the territory, and the French was sold it to the English because they lost two major conflicts. You only got three conflicts to win the final conflicts. It's called 3 knocks to a finish. If you lose 2 out of 3, you don't get a third bite at the apple. Your ass is out of there. So when the French lost in Haiti to Toussaint L'Ouverture, Duddy Bookman, and John Dessalines, that conjure carries all the way up to the battle of what they call River Rouge in Detroit. It used to be called the Bloody River or the Bloody River Run, but they changed the name to the Red River or the Rouge River, right? Flip the next one, Elder. So once the French lost that second major conflict, they sent us back the Statue of Liberty to tell us we fighting drag queens in a drag race across the land. They all seahorses, right? Now, it's if they ask what we doing about this shit, tell them voodoo, May 31st, 2020. May 31st, 2020, I was telling them back then, if they ask you what we doing about this shit, tell them voodoo. What you running from for? What you running from it for? We doing voodoo. Now, to the most powerful form of breaking of a spell is to lay out into the public domain the mechanics of the spell. The agreement between the people to work together to break the spell. And once one of us expose it, then we all get to work on breaking the spell together, which is power and unity. Peace, my brother, peace.
Peace, honors, man. What up, A's, man? I'm a big fan of you for a long time, brother. So it was about time, man. Family united again. What's good,
Hey,
brother? How's everybody, man?
you know, it comes all the way back around. You know, I was laying the foundation, get them to understand that voodoo is not a religion. It's a spiritual system to develop your abilities to fight spiritual warfare. And they told us that it was some demonic evil shit so that they can push that Christian dogma down our throat and have us walking around confused. You can take
Well,
it from there.
the perspective of voodoo for what, because I can tell like I'm an inheritance. I don't like to say the term priest because it's just like it mean you fall under a title that somebody engraved into you, or you went to places where they put that title to said, okay, you official. It's not pretty much like that. It's an inheritance, meaning that you happen to be born in a bloodline to have some sort of a access to the divine, meaning or have access outside of the physical realm. So it's not a title nobody can give you. It's just a line that you inherit, and those ancestors make sure they keep that connection with you. Where some people, it's not their fault; it's the bloodline issues. They got mixed up with other outsiders because you know what you call blood. We take blood for granted, like we think it's just blood. That's why we have different type of blood. It tells you a reason. Yes, we look the same, but our blood is where the memory sits, because water or the blood is your memory's data. So it's a huge hard drive. So therefore, some of us, our hard drive got jammed because we mixed with some other blood and it severed the connection to some of our ancestors. And we lost our touch, or we lost the way. And some of us don't. We the line is still there, you know. So you just mentioned before when you said religion, I want people to know when you said Christianity. See, I want people to know that the process of voodoo, most of the stuff that you dealing with, like what you call saints, the saints is our ancestors. People seems to think is a religion. No, it's not religion at all. Matter of fact, if you ever figured out, like when you talk about the saints, you will notice this is ancient, what you call black nobilities. And the saints is the orders. These were people that was fighting because at that time, the world these folks were living in, the world we are living now, you have no idea how crazy the world these people were living. They were among the hybrids. They were living with hybrids, the wild man, the minotaur, the Baphomet. All these creatures were among that time. So therefore, a lot of the spirit in voodoo, or the spirit of these entity, they captured. Okay, they capture these spirit, and now they know how to use that energy instead of having them animate physical flesh. So the majority of the name, like in voodoo, you're gonna find a bull. They call it bosu. That's what they call bal. That's the bull. So they know how to control that energy because it's all energy. Energy can be destroyed. You either control it, or you lock, or you imprison it, or you manipulate it. One way or the other, the energy cannot be destroyed. So we were the guardian. We, as indigenous Amarus, indigenous Haitian, indigenous, what we call Atlantean, we were the spiritual class. We control the flows of humanity. So since they take that away from us, because they what we call reconstruction, some of us backstab one another because that's what happened. That's why we lost power. We got betrayed. Some of us betrayed us. We make pact with some of the clone that we create. We go to war against family. That's why the empire fall. And for that, the number one problem they know they're gonna face is the spiritual side of things. And they rewrite history. They make sure the next generation does not inherit the truth.
You know, one of the things you just said about the bloodlines, you know, every one of the 12 daughters of Isis, which makes up the 12 different major bloodlines of the earth, each one of them had a system. So when we go to India, we see them teaching about avatars and telling you how to seek enlightenment under what they call the Buddha of the Buddha, which is the wisdom of the Buddha. So that's a system. That's not a religion, but they classify it as a religion because they needed to control it. And it's the same with if you go into Norse mythology, it's a spiritual system that was designed for the bloodline of Europa, the original melanated goddess of Europe. And then when you go to when the Catholics came along, they began to change the names of the patron saints of lands. And when they did this, they changed the perspective or the view of how we seen these people that was actual people that they calling saints was actually people that was fighting the spiritual war on a high level, right? So when we get to understanding that part, when you master the part from this land and you have any admixture from somewhere else, you will be able to understand the similarities and the differences, and you will even know how to use the foreign systems. You know, the priests around the world, the ones that wear the leopard print garb, they can talk to the trees in Brazil, and the one in China can get the message, the one in America can get the message, the one in Australia can get the message, the one at the bottom of South America, they can all get the message from one shaman talking to the trees, because that's what we call spirit knocking. We communicating through nature, using nature as a medium to communicate to those who tune in to nature. And this is why the trees carry so much information, because we've been using them to talk like telephones through trees for billions of years, but they telling us that we only been around approximately 6,000 years.
But it's reconstruction information. It's the
That's
clone.
right.
It's the incubator's knowledge. And as far as you were saying, the trees and all that, it's because we fall in play what we call the Imperium fall, or we people would call it Tartaria. That's when all we have to revert to the oldest ways of life. But before that, we have all sort of technology, man. Technology of today has nothing to like. We are so far behind compared to how like advanced we were in the past. Specifically, the bell. The bell was not only used to remove or to push negativity or demonic forces, but also it will use as a form of communication. When we trying to send some information to other people, we all start ringing the bell, and the sound of the bell start hitting the ether, and a radio wave signal start picking up, because most of these tower was wireless, and it was picking these wireless vibration from these bell and then transmitted to the next one, and information running straight to us just like that. And they knocked them out. They destroyed them. Like, what people fail to know, that the First and Second World War happens here in America, in the continent. That's why what they call the Caribbean, what they reclassify as Caribbean, they destroyed the majority of these places, including most of our stuff here. They call World's Fair. The World's Fair is the destruction of our civilization. You know, they call it Great Fire. This is where the First and Second World War really happened. It what happened here in America. But since we don't control the map, we don't control the maritime law, we don't control the airwaves, meaning that we don't know what's happening. Most of us believe what we believe as far as the map, based to what we can say. Okay, this is the map. We can go online and say Google Earth, but we don't really know what really go down because we don't control what happens here. So that's why we fall in grace as far as that perspective. But definitely, man. So I'm up for some of these questions if it's needed.
Hey, when we talk about uh, the knowledge being what's not being in control, and the knowledge that we have, somebody else is funneling it to us and trying to control a narrative by how they allow us to receive our information. Remember, I be telling people, all them people that we see in the history books hanging from trees was somebody significant to our culture and carrying on our culture against the will of the colonizers, right? And they needed to remove anybody that was going to tell us about the voodoo, about the tribal historical record, the tribal spiritual responsibility as caretakers of the earth. Anybody that was perpetuating any of that knowledge, and it didn't matter what their skin color was, because the people behind it, dark as us or darker, but they was pushing out the hybrid, the European, the pale face European, as the one that was
But
doing everything.
let me just say the quick word when you say that. These people is not from Europe, brother. These are Africans. We got to be definitely careful.
Well,
These folks is not from Europe. I'm talking about
well,
pale people.
well, that's who they pushed out in the front.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
I
pale
just want to
people.
make sure.
But the people that pushed them out from was melanated European royalty that been hid behind pale faces as what we call the priests of the Amun, the unknown, the ones that hides, the ones that conceal themselves, right? So when you go to like the Nation of Islam teach that the devil is the concealer of the truth, right?
That's right.
The Sunnis call them kafirun, ones who conceal what they know to be true. As you do the trace, you find another name for them called the Black Hand, right? So then when you start tracking them back even further, you find that they used to call themselves various different names, and they do the same mischief everywhere they go, which leaves the energy signature to be read by the masters of the spiritual sciences. And you have to slowly be developed into understanding the spiritual sciences because they feeding what's called dogma into the pipeline to confuse the system of reading the spirit with religious sensationalism and hedonistic worship, where you get pleasure out of being an ass kisser to a mysterious God that you never even had any ability to hear from. But we all heard our mama voice, and we hear when she ain't around. And so our first problem or obstacle we had to overcome was, who told you your mama wasn't God? Because she was the one that carried you and drew divine source energy into her body in order to develop you. So when we start tracing all of these things back, it starts to reveal a story being told. And those stories is what we used to call grid stories. Right? The storytellers of the tribe, the historians, the Hayoka, the ones who did it in dance and song, right? They call them today rappers and break dancers, but they the same people. They just expressing what's already in their DNA. We calling them crip walkers and bee walkers, and we calling them Detroit jitters when the spirit is moving their feet to tell each other, we still here. We never left. And the biggest trick was to tell us that we came from somewhere else and expect us to believe it.
Well, we still at that moment right now where we trying to, we still trying to figure this out because the majority of the population still asleep over that though. But we all making great stride though. The energy is still pushed back over that. Definitely, man.
Hey, look,
That's
let me say something. Hey, let me introduce the brother. But now
we
we
don't
got
hear you. We
everybody
don't. I
on.
can't hear you, brother. We know no. We know now. I can't hear you, bro.
Can you hear me?
It's in mute.
It's on
I
mute.
can hear him.
I cannot hear him. That's the
I don't know what
funny.
that is. I can hear him loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I hear you though, but I can't hear him.
Wow, that's crazy.
It did that to me when I was trying to talk to him right before we went on. We went hot. He
Can
was
they hear me?
talking, and I can hear him though. This is if the audience can hear him, put some fire emojis in there. Let us know y'all can hear Elder talking.
But I cannot hear him. That's the thing. If you want to ask me a question, I won't be able to answer because all I've seen is his mouth moving,
I
but
can get Raw
no
to do
sound
it.
though.
Damn.
But I can hear you though. I can hear you.
Hey, Voodoo Chief.
Okay, so
hey, do this. Go in and come back out. Go in and come back out, Voodoo Chief, real quick.
Oh
just click
no,
off,
that's
come back on.
Elder. That was because you went in and came back out, but it didn't.
I messed
So
it up
you
because
might have
they
to
started skipping me.
Yeah, you might have to do it again. Because I can hear you, the crowd can hear you. He just can't hear you.
Voodoo Chief, just go in and come back out. That's what
Get
it
out,
is.
come back.
And then I'm gonna introduce you to the crowd while you're doing that. I'm gonna introduce the brother. Just click on it. Just click on the same link. Just click right back on because it do that when I switch out. It switched me out because something happened to my laptop.
Let me tell you what you said, Elder, because I don't think he can hear you.
Okay.
He going to introduce you and probably play a clip of you while he doing that. He wants you to go out and come back in.
All right, say less. So I need to log out or just crash the page, like the page. Just
exit exit and then come back in.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Hey y'all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. You already know Chief Raw Hayes on the land, right? You probably know the Voodoo Chief. The Voodoo Chief is hot right now on TikTok. He be spitting. He say he got more receipts than Walmart. Right? We're finna show you who we're talking about. You probably scroll by some of his stuff on TikTok. Be sure to go check out his TikTok and YouTube, Instagram, all that. Right? We're gonna roll the clip. Here we go, right here. This is gonna do right here.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you good now, big homie. You good.
All right, there you go. Let me just roll. Hey, y'all. So if you don't know the Voodoo Chief, you sleeping on it, right? The brother is hot. He got the voice. He electrifying. He's a fighter on the land, man. He's fighting. So let me just show y'all this because it's a picture. The picture that I was talking about is in this clip of you. And I want to ask you who the heck is this black noble in this picture with Queen Elizabeth? This clip right here.
This is what he wear. These are the descendant of emperors and kings. Let me show you again. Okay? You see that? This is King Charles right there. He was pure blood. He carried a crown. And everybody that comes, that means that's his line. This is his line in the bottom. That's why they all have the necklace.
Hey, we got the real guy on. Hey, that's hot right there, man. Like, so that's the brother. If you probably scroll across that on TikTok, go check out all of his TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. We got all that in the links in the descriptions. And be sure to show the brother some love on the Cash App. We're gonna be dropping in the link in the chat every 5 minutes. Yeah, brother. But you said that picture you show of the black noble guy with the chain. I wonder who the hell is that guy. I was trying to look him up to find him. Go ahead.
His name is Paul McClure.
Hold on. I want to say something about that before we get into it. Did you notice that Eisenhower had a Knights Templar cross on his left pocket?
That's right.
Right. The Templars is the ones who secure the Vatican as called the Swiss Guard.
That's right.
It's the same symbol. All right. Now, by him having it on his left pocket, remember what Noble Drew Ali said. They came in hostile on the left bump, and he was making reference to the Red House, 32 degrees Scottish Rite, double eagle head, which is actually a double vulture head, scavenger. But that we call it the double eagle head, one looking in each direction, right? So he gets his Templar cross on his left pocket. What is your pocket used for? It's used to put your watch, and talking about your sports coat pocket. Either your watch or your billfold go in there, your money, your wealth, right? Your portable wealth. So he telling us by having the Templar cross on his pocket that he's in this, or whoever he representing is coming out of the Templars, but they in it for the money. All of that is said by where he put that particular thing on. Now, the brother was pointing out the brother with the royal necklace on. Now we know who his boss is, who Eisenhower boss is, right? Because the bankers work for the royals. The royals don't work for the bankers. The bankers is always trying to marry into the royal lands in order to get heritable birthright that they don't have. So you will see it play out like that. The superior, because they wasn't the only two had what identifiers on at that event, but they knew based on where these identifiers is, who they is, and what they represent. I yield. Go ahead, my brother.
What you say that brother's name was now? I'm gonna write it down. Go ahead. Just go ahead and spit, brother.
Paul, his name is Paul McClure. Is MAGLOIRE. MAGLOIRE.
I got
it. Paul my glory. It mean Paul his glory. Because it's decided, all our indigenous ancestors, we call each other's name by meanings behind it. It mean his glory. Paul in his glory. He's the descendant of the emperor of Haiti. So it's all, that's why like when Queen Elizabeth become into power, that's why they call it hand over. He was the one that house of hand over. He hand over power to her because they were half crown. They were half crown. Bro. Yes, they were half crown. Like if you ever saw their money, it said half crown. It was never full crown until he did that. He passed it over to her because Queen Elizabeth, this is not just me saying, Queen Elizabeth come from the kingdom. They all family. Now, let me be clear about that. I don't care what people tell me about Queen Elizabeth, whatever name. She come to me several times and tell me to pass down messages. So somewhere along the way, that's why her hair always up. If you saw her picture, she looked biracial going up. She never have straight hair. Her hair always looked like a fro going up. And I remember the day, like when they announced that she crossed over, because we never knew when these folks really gone or not. She come into my dream. I don't call that dream. This is just a summon. She just got me in there. And when I went there, I was in the castle. Never forget. She tell me very respectful and clear. She tell me to tell the world that she was not a goddamn reptilian. She was pissed. She said, I could not go about my way because I'm sick of people telling me that I was a reptilian. She tell me that, look, I know people because I was an old lady. I want to retire. I want to do this. I want to live my life. But I know people hijacked me. She said that. Let me show you what these people was doing. She take me down to a basement in a castle. She said, this is where these folks doing some heinous shit to people. So she trying to tell me this is what they do, but they put the blame on her. And she's just like, she was very respectful. Please tell people that I was not what they are telling me I was. So I gotta respect the dead. I just gotta
So,
respect the dead. And
so
yeah, go ahead.
when you hear the term "heavy is the head that wears the crown," if she's in the building and she's the head of household of the building, whether she stop it or not, she responsible for go on in her house.
But you
So
know what? Ah,
she had to accept her responsibility for that part because it went on in her house and
let
on
me
her
say
watch.
this. I don't say anything like what you said is a facts. What I'm trying to say is this: that's a perception that this lady turned to a reptile. That's what she was going with. Like the perception of shapeshift to a reptile eating people. She said no, which I don't believe the shit anyway. I don't believe it because we know this is a scapegoat. We know these cats in the past, for example, we believe that it was Satan at one point. Everything that went wrong, you said, oh, it's Satan. Everything that went wrong, oh, well, this is Lucifer. They always need a scapegoat to get away from what they are doing. So today, they get rid of the Satan, they get rid of the so-called Lucifer. Now is reptilian. See how that work? They constantly update their
Yeah,
scapegoat. So
they're
therefore,
creating
I
the
don't
boogeyman.
believe it. Now, do reptilian exist? Yes. These what reptilian is not from outer space. These are hybrids, abomination that our ancestors create in the past. And after the great flood, if you want to call it the great flood, some of these abomination or some of these hybrids survive. And after the great flood, some of us got stuck behind. That's why they found, like, if you saw Apollo 13, the Russians, they found a huge spacecraft underwater, but they says the moon, they lying. It's underwater. They found this craft. To me, this was an evacuation craft that did not make it in time. And to me, that was your great flush. They were trying to leave, but they didn't make it. So to me, a large number of us, we are the descendant of those that did not make it in time. And when you look at the craft, it looked like what? A cigar shape. The same cigar shape that land in Dulce, Mexico. They said it was nothing but black folks that come out of it. It looked identical. And when they go inside of that same craft, it was a black woman inside of it. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. These notion, anything the media tell us, we know who control the media, right? So if the media gonna tell you is this reptilian run, it's the complete opposite. Okay? We know who was doing this. Matter of fact, we heard the files, we see the documentation about the files that come out. They are doing this heinous shit. And if you go about history in the time of ancient time, you want to call it Europe, you saw the wild men eating children. You saw the wild men devour children. So it was never reptilian. It was them. Who are these people? Hybrids. This is the Neanderthal, the wild men, the whatever name you want to call them. They are the one doing this, but they use an excuse. So to me, the dead telling me, no, I'm not a shapeshifter. I was not eating babies. They was doing this and put the blame on me. So that's what I was just saying on
The
that
black
perspective.
nobility, the dark
Well,
skinned nobility.
but look, this is the reality of whether she was doing that or not. This is something that's well known around the world in the royal families of Europe. The ones that's publicly royalty have parties where blood is on the cuisine.
Oh, we know. Listen now, these
Hold on.
people,
Let me
it's
cook for a
true.
minute. Let me cook for a minute. Now, whether Queen Elizabeth still not going to escape responsibility because when you trace back conjure work that we was fighting, it was under John D and Queen Elizabeth I. The Queen Elizabeth that just crossed over is the one who inherited the responsibility to maintenance the conjure that her foreparents had put in place. John D told her that it would last for 200 years. The only reason it wouldn't last longer than that is because the close of the age would be coming shortly thereafter. This is where we get to the 250 years. We know that they did this conjure magic, and it's not a secret. we know that all of the maintenance on the conjure magic required blood to be spilled in order to keep us in the stupor. This is known, this is stuff that's known, but people don't want to accept it because they, like you said, they want to blame an invisible boogeyman. Just like they worshiping the invisible sky daddy that ain't doing nothing. Right?
Mhm.
So when whether she is a reptilian or not, all a reptilian mean is you operating from your reptile brain, which is your root brain.
That's it.
That's you a reptilian when you operate. That's what we call low vibrational frequency in form of a human.
Facts.
So whether she physically shapeshift into a reptilian is irrelevant to the fact that she was known to be at these weird parties where they was doing sex rituals and blood rituals, and she, as sitting in the seat of the queen, which is a pseudo sacerdotal seat, and they made it look like she was running something. She wasn't running nothing. She worked for some people that's blacker than my shoes. So they the ones they call archons. Right? We know that they did the conjure magic to bring Vatica through the portal to sit on the sacerdotal seat, but because she is an invert from a mirror universe, she had to live under the Vatican. You can go pull up the Vatican tour to the Vatican basement on YouTube, and they're gonna show you her chambers in the basement. Right? So this is not stuff that's speculation. Now, whether she came to you or not, I don't got nothing to do with that. And it's the reason she came to you. We also know this. There's nobody that's supposed to be royalty in Europe that does not have Moorish blood, or they can't be considered royalty.
They need that
Period.
one drop rule.
They can't be considered, they can't be considered royalty unless they have some melanated blood. Period.
Hey, look, can I say one thing too to verify what the brother's saying about her having an afro? Yes, I did a whole trace on her on the bloodline, right? But I came to a problem with I came to a problem in the bloodline when I came to Queen Victoria. All right, so look, what happened is I know that King George III was a Moor or dark skinned brother. We know this, like the House of Wales, House of Handover. What you saying, right? The House of Handover was these people. These I traced them all the way back to Ethiopia. Actually,
She's a descendant
might
of
be,
King Henry the First.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's all Henry lineage.
Yeah, so they was definitely dark skinned people all the way up into King George I. But it seemed like to me the Rothschilds came in then and started usurping the parliament and trying to take over the Bank of England during the time of King. This right here is 1830s, and then 1837 it seemed like they had killed everybody, and it was only King Edward's Prince Edward's, and Prince Edward's daughter would be Queen Victoria, but they had him whacked while he was on the way. They said that it's a story out, but I don't know how much evidence. I couldn't really find no solid evidence to prove this part, but the part was that he was on the way back because he was a Navy guy, and he was on the way back to tell them that Queen Victoria not my daughter, but she could have had some mulatto. Her mother was a mulatto, right? So these people were mulattoes, all of them, even Queen Isabella. Queen Isabella was an albino mulatto. Her husband Ferdinand was a dark-skinned Moor. So these people I'm with you when you say they got they all of them. Like Doc said, if you shake their tree hard enough, dark-skinned big mama's gonna fall out. Right? Go ahead, my bad. But what's your take on that though? Because you was talking about the black nobility and you was going in on Queen Isabella. I can see that. Yeah, I mean Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth. Go ahead.
This is where to me, from these perspectives, most of these folks are clones. This is incubators. That's when they start to wash out the original lineage and replace us over.
Mm-hmm.
And after the First and Second World War, because the Empire fall in 1915, that's when we officially out. And that's what lead when they sink the Titanic, the Titanic time. That's when they get rid of all of our lineage, all of our pretty much leaders, family. That's what leads the war. And that's when eventually they would place us or repopulate the planet, repopulate areas with these clones. Okay, so these orphan train was not orphan. These were literally clone. They were transporting clone everywhere. And that's why there's a white scientist that came out and doing I think a presentation in one of these network not network, a show called TED. And she said that
Mhm.
white people are 82% clone. And everybody was like wondering, like, which is true.
I
And that's why
agree.
they call them boomers. When you hear about baby boomer, they were booming people at that time. That's why the boomers is the way they are. They are program machine, and that's where they are.
Mhm.
They are not
Mhm.
organic people. That's why the birth rate for white folks is really declined, because they don't have a
Mhm.
tree line. They don't have a placenta. They did not come from a placenta. So, and that's why they have incest a whole lot. They have children among their own people, because that's the only sense of connection they have, because they don't really have an organic, vibration when it comes to that. So this is where they replace us. They replace us with nothing but a bunch of cloning imposters. And most of these stories with these names, they don't look nothing like the original. These are made up crap. Okay, if you see like the Queen Victoria, this is Photoshop, and it looked like a dude. Okay,
Mhm.
I mean, we
Mhm.
all can tell you, like, if we go look, for an example, go find any coin past in the years of, like, we looking for coins. I'm talking about
Oh, I think,
authentic
yeah.
coins. These things is not all that they are young. That they just make them up just to push an ideology. So a lot of characters is not organic. They make that up just to push a narrative that they were there. These people was not there at all.
Here's the thing: when the solar flash triggered the Earth to send that shock wave of Schumann resonance, it's gonna turn off anything that's not from Earth.
Well, you
So
see what you
it,
said?
it whether we, because we know they had breeding programs, we know this. This is not a secret. The breeding programs go all the way back to ancient Babylon and Sumer. There's always been breeding programs. What made
Mhm.
this breeding program different was their attempts to conceal it. They didn't properly follow the protocol that if the product is defective, you're supposed to immediately terminate it. Right. So this, and then they was creating defective beings. When you go back to the Sumerian tablets, it told them what the remedy was way back then. If you effed up their genetics, the only way you can fix it is you got to give it some royal blood, or else the genetics is going to remain defective. Right? So we know the Khazarians is the byproduct of pale-faced women in the Moorish harems. Right? That's not a secret. That's what created Khazaria. Khazaria became the bankers of the royal family because they didn't have heritable birthright. They was
I
calling them
believe
batards. Right? We call a batard in modern English a bastard, an
bastards.
illegitimate child. They can't be legitimized because a motherland can't be legitimized. It had nothing to do with the fatherland, because the fatherland get its legitimacy from the motherland. Right? So if they can't legitimize them, they call them a batard. That means if they can't trace their mother back to one of the 12 daughters of Isis, which made up the 12 regions of the earth, then they came from the laboratory. But just because they got pale skin doesn't mean they are the clones. Because you got some clones that look like us, some inorganic beings walking around making you think they got a soul, and all they is a sociopath with good mimic skills. Right? So when we looking at it, we got to be cognizant of the facts that there was a remedy in place. And when we all of us, my mama said the good had to suffer with the bad. The ones that didn't stop the ones from making the defective beings became guilty by inaction, not saying nothing to them. Hey, you can't do that here. This is what we do today. We call it upholding the code. Instead of telling our homeboy, why you want to rob that old lady, nigga, that's dumb. We don't say nothing. We let him do it, and then we break bread together afterwards. That's wrong, wrong, and wrong. That's three wrongs gonna keep being wrong. You can't make that shit be right. And so when we looking at everybody had to give up a drop of blood, who went first? Cheyenne, what we call China. That's why they had the most brightest colored people on the planet in largest number because they was the first ones that participated in giving up the blood. This is what the purpose of the Great Wall was, because the things that was being produced in the laboratory, they created the wall to keep them on the other side.
Yep.
Right? So we know what was going on, the ones that really did the study. And now we then went through the cleanup. We ain't got to use racism no more. That tool is useless now. All we got to do is wait for this solar flash, because anybody don't supposed to be on Earth, they won't be on Earth after that.
That's why they are they all talking about building. They already, like they said, they have many bunkers that over something trillion. There's a bunker that's 3 trillion they created. So they already they've been preparing in their perspective. They're gonna get away with it. You know, the whole
Yeah,
bunker
that's what
situation.
that's what all they pseudo space exploration is about, trying to find a way out. Ain't no way out. Ain't no way out. Ain't nobody getting out of here without paying for their dirt. Good,
Facts.
bad, or indifferent, you're gonna get what you earn. And that's just the way it is. You're not getting out of here without paying for your dirt. I don't care if you blind hair, blue eyes with translucent skin, or if you black as the ace of spades with your hair so nappy. If you did the dirt, you're paying for it. Because when they cut you off, before you turn off, you're going to experience the worst pain a human could possibly imagine. Because it's gonna do that. And the only ones that's gonna be safe is the ones that belong here. And I don't care about the rest of them because they ain't got nothing to do with me. I only care about us, the ones that belong here. The what we call the righteous ones. Why are they righteous? Because they in the right place with right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding about the whole situation and who they are. So as long as the righteous is good, I'm good. The rest of them don't got to stay. They can go.
Man, I'm ready for whatever. My heart in the right place. We get our order, our spiritual order is in the right place, all aligned. Yeah, nothing to worry about, baby. Nothing.
I got another question. Hey, I'm gonna play this tape, and then I go off the question on it. It's like a clip off your YouTube. I mean your TikTok. Hey y'all, we on with the Voodoo Chief and Raw Hayes, y'all. You gotta go check out his TikTok. He one of the hottest in the game. I got the TikTok link in the descriptions, y'all. For y'all that all never heard of the Voodoo Chief, let me play one of the clips, and then I'm gonna ask the question.
Folks, it's not about feelings. It's not about disrespect. It's just for truth. So here, Barbados, 1966, 1 year after the civil rights. That's how you get your so-called Barbados as a nation. How it's possible? Huh? I'm just trying to remind you. This is idea 1978. That's when the flag, and that's where they become the nation they are. Do you understand? It's all by design. That's why they send them to these African. Jamaica, once again, used to call Port Royal, because this is where the emperor go. That's the second residence of the emperor of the empire. Jamaica, it's called Port Royal. But guess what? Look at this. 1962. That's when they create the flag, and that's when they become a nation. Once again, you're dividing us.
You assume it go exactly what they want you to say. On the next question, but that's so. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna place like just a little pieces of your some of your videos, and where I can ask the question, and then they can go check out the full breakdown on TikTok, and all the links is in the descriptions, y'all. But I want to ask the question because you brought something to my attention that we was already on about when they incorporated all these new, when the British took over all these plots and then separated them, got us thinking that the Jamaicans is different from all this is different, but was all one republic at one point. Could you go in on that, brother?
Okay, so let me just show you something right quick. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Can you see it?
Okay.
Can you see it?
Let me see. See, can I blow it? Yeah, I can see it. We can see it.
Okay.
The map. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I got a video. I can play the video of that map real quick if you want. I got that video up in here.
Okay. This map is the original how they depicted the map before Reconstruction era, which mean before the
Mm-hmm.
Rockefeller education system. They call it the
Mm-hmm.
planisphere, or before they update the map, before they flip it, before they reduce
Mm-hmm.
nation, reduce continent. That's how they used to call it. So what I just showed you, this is Atlantis, which is us. And Atlantis is this what you see they call Haiti today, how they make Haiti look like a little small island. This is
Mm-hmm.
how that's the largest continent in the world. But they don't want you to know
Mm-hmm.
that, because if you knew it, then we not only we all connected, but we are the largest and the first people. We are the Atlanteans. So how are you going to tell the world that a group of people that we are the originals of everything? They cannot allow that. So they change. In this map I show you, I have it in different language. Showing you is not just one place that used to publish it before. You have the Russians that have it the same way. You have the Chinese same way, because they call it the planisphere. So now, why some people are going to have hard time figure this out, or they're going to feel some type of way. I always remind people the name it, or you say Haiti, the name mean the God's return, and the name Haiti or Haitian has been there since the what we call the Sumerian. They call them Ati. They call them Haitians. That's not Anatola. They call Hati Haitians, Haitians. Right there, what you call this place? In it's not Hawaii. They call it Tahiti. It's called Haiti before that. And don't forget about here in the mainland, South Dakota was called Haiti. New Orleans was called Haiti. Pennsylvania was called Haiti. New York was called, that's what's called New York. They recreate all this as a new name now. They change it. Okay. Virginia was called Haiti. All of these places was Haiti because that's the name of the God's return. When you said Indios, Indios mean the God people. Okay. So therefore, they know who we are as far as a people. So their job is to divide us, and they conquer us by divisions. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so yes, this map is actually shows you the real size of America, the largest continent in the world. And it's not only that, we can see it through. I mean, let me just give a quick synopsis when you deal with the history. If you want to, if you might say, well, the map is not true, let's just pay attention to it. For an example, how you think the so-called Haitian, right? They fought every single war in this continent. They was right there in Florida, the Gullah War. They was right there in New Orleans. They was right there in Virginia. They was right there in Baltimore. They was right there in Texas. They was right there in Mexico. They was right there in Bolivia. Right there in Argentina. They was right there in Greece. They were like, it's impossible for a small little island to have that many outlet to do. No, it's but if you go by the map show you all of these places connected. So it's obvious this is how it was, all of this was happening, because it's not that far or it's not disconnected. Somehow they want us to believe. But since we don't control the maritime law, that's why they come up with new law. They come up with new structures. They limit our, our exploration. Even right here in the Grand Canyon, they don't even. It's a no go. They don't even allow us to go right here, let alone get to know how this world really works. So that's why we somehow believe that the world is so far away, or somehow we think we're different than each other, because they limit our access and ability to travel.
That was one of the most brutal blows that they gave us, to make us think that the mainland Indians and the island Indians was different Indians. We was different by tribal structure, yeah, but the people is the same. Like you say, this is the old Atlant that became Atlantis over time, right? And this is why I told everybody Haiti gonna be the first one to receive their payout, because if you hold true to the premise of what the text that they wrote said, that the last had to be first and the first had to be last. So if you switch the position, who's been treated worse in this part of the land? Who's been strangled financially the worst out of all other parts of the land? Who's been had the constant mainlands stepping on them along with the colonizer and being disrespected by their own kindred, by their kindred believing that they somebody else and they begging us for help? They not begging us for help. They begging us to be who we supposed to be and recognize the validity of all of the tribes got to work together, or we ain't gonna never see no shit called freedom. We gonna always be misled down the wrong path by people that don't got our interest at heart. We the only ones care about us. And the first thing we had to get over with is thinking that because they live in Jamaica, because they live in Haiti, Dominica, because they live in St. Croix, St. Lucius, that they different people. They got different tribal traditions because they live under a different earth-based environment, not the housing and the structures that colonization sensationalized about the area, but the vibration of the nature of the area. The tribe just express itself different, right? This go all the way to Samoa and Tonga, what they call Hawaii today. Most of these places was not literally conquered. They was only conquered on paper under a doctrine called annexation. Right? And that's the way that for them to move in without you declaring war on the people, because if you can figure out a way to move in without declaring war, you can deceive them better than you can if you come with guns ablazing. That's why they always send their priests out first. And like the brother said earlier, Voodoo don't really have priests. They just couldn't say the names that we called them, so they just referred to him as a voodoo priest. That's not what they
voodoo.
It's
the
a
word
birthright.
voodoo, just the word also, a lot of people miss, when you ask anybody what the name mean, they really confused. Voodoo mean the worth of your obedience. That's what it mean. Do vo mean worth, do mean obedience. So you got to be worthy. Because you got to be humble, because in voodoo everything matter. A spirit can manifest in a rock, a spirit can manifest in a bird, a spirit can manifest in a spider. Everything count. So therefore, if you see the world in the viewpoint of the modern day society that only human matter, or because you have money matter, or because you have certain title or access, you the best shit walk the earth. No, it's not. In voodoo, you're gonna be humble because spirit can use absolutely everything and anything just to manifest itself. So you got to be worthy of knowing that. You got to be worthy from coming to lineage that have that respect, that have that honor, and you got to be definitely what you call be humble and respectful. So your obedience matter in that form. So the last part before I just move forward, you were saying the customs about different people's custom tribe. I want to remind people, the majority of people today, they want to reclassify as Caribbean. They were eventually here. They were in the mainland. It's what you call the purchase, what they call Louisiana purchase. It's not a purchase, it's a pure chase. They were chasing us out of these territories. So most of us were moving to the area they call the Caribbean today, and that's why they call the Trail of Tears. That is us moving down to these areas. And don't forget what you call the today modern day Caribbean. It's a bunker. That's why the most forts, or the most military forts in the world, nowhere have the most military forts than the Caribbean. It was literally just military forts everywhere because the royal family were running over there. And that's why in the Caribbean, the culture stays. We have the largest concentration of melanin. We did not went to the assimilation as many other places went, because they were bringing these fake people, what you call the clone, and just going to a genetic war, meaning bring them in and breed out with the population, get rid of their skin. So therefore, that's why the Caribbean, we still maintain language. We don't lose our language. We don't lose our culture, while a lot of places been assimilated by the outsiders. And this is why they create immigration. Immigration Act or immigration law was used as a tactical to block the people that's from here to come back home, while they are bringing a boatload of foreigners to come and inflate those numbers. And ever since they take control of it, they use that system to really divide us by creating these flags, creating these nations. That's how it was game over for good.
Yeah, they had started incorporating all the shit that during in 1761. They started doing all these charters and incorporating all of our land and pretty much consolidating our shit. And I heard you say the Titanic, that's 1912, and then they ran the
Yep.
Jekyll Island, right? The meeting at Jekyll Island, and then
That
after
was
that, they
1913.
realized. Go ahead.
That Jack
Yeah.
Island meeting was a year later.
Yeah, and then
right?
they create the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a
Yeah,
new system of banking. So therefore, they
yeah.
get rid of the royal ordinance. That's when we went from an ordinance to a constitute. A constitution is to constitute over something that was there before. And that's why they get you president to preside over something that was there before. So that's when after these time that we literally, that's what you see, the biggest army day. It's not like I want people to know how we lost power is our humanity's law is because we love people. I think that's the hardest lessons for us because we think that not only that we can just show love and fought for certain people, but I believe the lessons we learn is that some people, their genetic makeup or their genetic structure were built up. There's a code in there. It don't matter how much love you show, they're gonna be backstabber no matter what. To me, for an example, remember that's why this organization has never been labeled as a terrorist, what you call the KKK. There's a reason for it. This is the system that eventually destroyed the imperium. It was the what you call the Ku Klux Klan. It means a Creole word. It means a hit together, create a fraternity to destroy us. They are a coup. That's what you call coup d'etat. It was a coup d'etat. The reason why they wear this hat, not only this is ancient tradition here in America, our indigenous ancestors, what you call the Maya, they used to wear this clothes, but this clothes used to be wear when they are having people, when they
Yeah.
are going after backstabbers or people you consider traitors. They use this clothes to execute traitors. That's why you see if you ever watch movie executioners or people that's about to kill someone, they wear that long straight, almost like a Ku Klux Klan. So this was a ritual done against us by people that we thought was friend. And to be exact, I'm gonna tell it like it is. These were the dirty Moors. The dirty Moors are the one that sold us out. They were the one that did that. And again, if you're looking at their sigils, if you ever saw the Muskogee flag, is the crescent moon, just like the Moorish and just like the other ones. They were the one that eventually band together and they burn our cities. Now, how they end up burning these cities? They were right there with us. We signed treaty with them. They just violated the treaty. And their goal is to take over our industry. Okay, because we were rich. We have the richest empire in the world. So therefore, and also we got set of law. We don't want slavery. What is slavery? Human trafficking, cloning people, take advantage. We were spiritual beings. We against that. But them, that's how they consolidate their power. They were still human traffickers all over in Africa before they invade certain region that you call the Ottomans and beyond. So therefore, when they were wearing the hood, these were not strangers. They wear the hood because these were people that we were doing business with. These are people that were doing construction in our road, doing railroad. They were working these railroad. These were our people that we know, and they wear the hood and burn us. And again, they were burning the cross because the cross is a part of our culture. So this is how that's why we were fleeing. We were fleeing because we don't see the shit coming. And just you wake up the next day, you watch your business burning, and you don't know who's doing that. That's John across the street that you know. And these were backstabbers. So we got betrayed though. So I
But
think
see,
that's
that
the
go
lesson
back
learned.
to what we talked about that before. The black hand from under the KKK robe was the most feared thing in the South
Yes.
because
Yes, indeed.
the black hand that was leading it, there wasn't no glove. What I'm trying to tell you, wasn't no glove on that black ass hand. But the next day when he take his hood off, he right there next to you talking about kill white.
That's real talk. That's real
Right. We
talk.
know where they came from by the regalia. They take you straight back to the Black Brotherhood of Spain, where the Ku Klux Klan come from. Right now, in some circles, they say that the reason they named them the Ku Klux Klan is because they was Kukulakan mercenaries looking for the Kukulakan chiefs. Right, that's in tribal oral priest tradition. They telling you that in the sweat lodges, but they not telling it to the people because one of the chiefs had to figure it out without them being told in the sweat lodge, which is the same with the Masons, and they brothers had to keep the secret. But they had to still put the secret in the public. It's just the ones of us that don't got no contracts with them is the only ones that can execute the birthright. So one of us had to find where one of the ones that went into the secret society put the information in the public domain and say, this is where they told it to us at. And then when you put it all together and you trace them, like earlier you was talking about how the Haitian Empire expand. We got to remember all that military armament down there was because those is where all of the soldiers was at. That's where the training ground for the generals was at. The Mississippians controlled the inland up and down the Mississippi River, and they made voyages to the islands. Me and Elder talked about this in several other lives over the years many times, because the Big Mama that would be stationed in New Orleans would do the facilitating of the trade with the Big Mamas from the islands in order for exotic goods to be brought to the mainland, and the mainland to send staple foods back to the islands. So they had navies, the Mississippian Navy, which is also tied to the old Haiti Empire, is the ones who was tasked with patrolling what we call in today the Gulf of America.
You got that right. That's why all the cannon in Haiti said, they said, commissaire du frontière, mean the commissioner of the frontier of the waters, all the cannons. So pretty much what you just said, which is I always remind people, what you call the Caribbean is the gateway to the mainland, meaning this is where they have to allow you to come in to get here. No commerce can get through here without over there. And this is why there's the largest military in the world when it comes to forts. So again, but they don't want us to believe, they don't want us to know as a people. This is how huge our industry was when we worked one people. They don't want us to know we were running the system like that. They don't want you to believe that. They want to always say it was a group of slaves. They have a slave revolt. What type of slave they're gonna have all these equipment? What type of slave they're wearing crown? It's impossible, but they love that story to keep you in check.
Right. Remember, they gave us the slave narrative to conceal the prisoner of war status that was the truth.
Facts.
The slave narrative is to make you feel powerless to fight against the machine. Right? This is why Tupac say we killing that Illuminati shit, because that's just something else to keep your self-esteem low. Your self-esteem have to be healthy, based on pure intentions, and then your higher consciousness will then activate your DNA to tell you who you is, why you here, and what you need to be doing. If you haven't had your activation yet, that means one of several things, because it's going down right now. People catching the flux from this shift, right? They feeling it. They going through healing crisis from this shift. This shift taking place in real time, and is being led by the restoration of the matriarch, which is the restoration of the original tribal structure of the whole planet. Because that's the only time we had perfect balance. That's when we called it the old Atlant. Everything was perfectly balanced. So everybody that was being born was living their best life at the same time. That's what's happening on Earth. That's where the whole utopia concept of a heaven come from, is Earth without all of the negative sorcery involved trying to tear down the original people of the Earth. I mean, we fighting somebody that ain't from here.
Unorganic creatures created in the lab. And I believe, and I always remind people, there's a generational war, man. I think these boomers, until they get, that generation completely disappear, that's when we're going to most likely start seeing the golden age on this planet, because they come with a certain consciousness. They were literally been programmed, because, they come from such a hateful, anybody that come from that Reconstruction era, or that were literally from that lineage of ideology. Trust me, man, if this is the people that's in a position of rulership, this planet cannot move forward yet, bro. That energy is not in harmonious order with this plane. And that's why the world feel the way it is, man.
But that's the good thing about the cycling of the elders that comes with experience and things over time. As the generations roll forward, elders cross over to the ancestral realm to assist from that side. But then the youth become the adult that becomes the next wave of elder.
The next wave of elders. But you know the funny thing is these boomers they will not be able to go to the ancestral realm because they were not organically built. These people don't have a soul. They have animated body. A soul is an evolutionary state of a spirit. A spirit will become a soul. Why? Because every cycle you evolving, you learning. You were on this level, you were in an animal, you were in a human body, you went to this body. Each experience of a lifetime, your soul, what you call solar, you are growing an energy grid. Your energy grid accumulate experiences and it grows. But these people, they were not born with a solar, frequency. So these
So
were animators, and they would not assist they would not go to no ancestral realm. And that's why they trying to, get children organ. That's why they're afraid of death. Death is ascension. This is where you're gonna be able to get your validation or to be value in the scale of my eye. Death is how your vibration is gonna be weight. They're gonna weight your vibration to see what your next cycle gonna be, evolve or not. And some of us, I've seen a lot of our people really leaving, man. That's an ascension taking place. There's a lot of orbs going upward. There's a video, I don't know if you saw it, is out there. A lot of orbs is leaving the planet. That's ascension, meaning a lot of us is leaving for good. Like we graduated, some of us. But
hey, it's
yeah.
ironic that you would say that because a few years ago they had NASA had put out a video that's supposed to have been a meteor shower in Antarctica. And I'm looking at the video and I said, why do this video look funny to me? So I watched it again and I watched it again. And then I said, oh shit, they playing this shit in reverse. They ain't, that's why
They
it looks
coming
funny.
down. They were going
The light trail is backwards for it to be coming to the earth. That's why
right.
that shit look right. So I'm saying, oh, that's the mass exodus. That's the ones that lived in the Swiss Alps in that tunnel system, getting their ass evicted off the planet Earth because we don't want them to die here no more.
Recycle. We'll
Yeah,
talk.
because if they die here, they got to come back here. They can't leave of their own accord. Nature will trap them here because nature say the energy is not fit to be traversing the universe. So we gonna trap you here because you already here. But if they can go on and send their ass off world and murder their ass off world, salvage them, scrap them, whatever they do, we ain't got to worry about them coming here. Right? You got to remember the ones you're talking about, we call them in the modern terminology an NPC, a non-player character. Right? In the movie industry, they call back down actors. Right? They just people to fill the empty space until the real ones wake up to who they are, with the earth shaking itself frequency wise. And it might come out physical, because the more these sisters is rump shaking, they telling the earth to shake, especially if they born under an earth sign like Taurus. And they hip shaking, pounding the sound through the uterus to prime source. They got the main line bypass Jesus and go straight to the Father, the Mother, the Creator, prime source. That uterus don't need no intercessor. So when them women learn how to talk to their uterus, the uterus is the direct phone line to prime source. And when they all get together and they harmonize they mitochondrial grid network, they shift the energy. We knew that as the sons of Mama. Mama boys that watch Mama makes magic in the kitchen. When she go in there, she say, I only got enough food to feed 3 of y'all. It's 10 of y'all in this house. And then she come out, come on, y'all, it's time to eat. And it's 10 plates. How she do that? And they full plates too. That's alchemy like a mug. That's alchemy like a mug. Mama doing alchemy in the kitchen and she ain't even telling us. Don't worry about it, baby. Mama will figure it out. Ain't that what she say? Go on outside and play with your friends. I'll call you when dinner ready. We come in there, everybody eating, but wait a minute, we didn't have no food. We had a couple of this, scraps of this and that, and you made a whole meal? That's the power of love and the application of love. This is at the root of what each one of the use of the Orisha, the Loas, depending on your system, It's telling us energetically. But as you learn and study the Orisha, right, or the 7 African powers, as some of them call it, they ain't Africans. But the whole thing is they bloodlines that manifest in the families of men. In your constitution, it said if these people don't act right, call on the spirits of the earth, and they will be here. But they didn't tell you they was gonna come in the form of people. We look like people. We the spirits of the earth. We the defenders of the earth and the earth realm.
We are cells, white cells, red cells. We all living organism inside of a huge body called Earth. We'll talk. We are cells.
Yeah. Earth a living entity. Right? Our job is to make sure that don't nobody fuck it up. Somebody is fucking it up, so we have to do something. But we don't literally have to physically do nothing. All we got to do is make up our mind for it to stop. And guess what's going to happen?
Well,
we too busy fighting about the problem than making up our mind to solve the problem, and just agreeing to the solution being applied. The problem will immediately solve itself. Because we agree as the earth spirits incarnate in human bodies. We agree to clean this up. We here now. We got to do something. And it takes a voodoo priest or voodoo chief to tell you how to do it. Right? They called me from the other side. I don't be just boring. They got to conjure my ass up. Because I'm gonna find the solution to the problem and apply it. And I don't care who don't like it and who get mad. I'm just gonna fix the fucking problem. I'm not doing no extra shit. Just solve the problem and apply the solution and keep it moving. The solution to the problem is you balance out the 7 powers. They call them Pleiadian powers. We call them the 7 African powers, the 7 Orisha, you know what I'm saying, the 7 high lowers. Depending on your tradition, we calling on the same energy. In my tradition, I'm calling on the 7 sisters because my mama was number 7, just like me. And my granddaddy was 7 before her. That make me lucky number 7 because I'm a 777. That means that I have certain heritable birthrights to give me carte blanche to just solve the problem. Don't wallow in it. That shit stink. You're going to smell like it if you wallow in it too long. Right? Solve the problem. This is when I came, I was like, I'm growing up and I'm just so enthusiastic about life. I'm saying, I got to find the people that solve people's problems. Them was the voodoo priests that did that. I can't find them because I keep bumping into some people called preachers and lawyers. And then I found out that if these are the people that's supposed to solve people problems, now I understand why people still have problems. Because the people that's supposed to be solving people problems is the fucking problem. That's why ain't no problems getting solved.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the funny thing is, that's why the system boosts the volume of misery up. Remember, misery having funny ways of formulate your behavior, man, and it's weaponized. There's a reason why the poverty in Haiti is this high. It's not the people, it's an institution. You keep people impoverished, they will not be operating their right mind. And anyone that's desperate will not use their power properly. You feel me? And anyone that's desperate will not be able to see the difference between a demonic force and actually a divine force. And unfortunately, in the spiritual world, this is one of the biggest confusion. You find a lot of spirit that need energy to supercharge themselves to reincarnated because they stuck. They're on limbo. Limbo world and no joke. So for that, these spirit are lending their ability to influence reality. And that's what's been happening in the voodoo world. A lot of shit that's happened is it's not the divine spirit doing it. It's human spirit that trap on the other side. They need a getaway, and they are trying to, you know, what we call enhance reality quick to give you a quick fix just to lure you in so they can absorb your life force. And as soon as they absorb your life force, it turns to a reality of you dying, or of you having a car crash, or you having a. That's what the industry of the music industry are using. They are using spirit. There's a difference between law and spirit. Spirit are literally humans. They're stuck. They need energy to try to find a way to reincarnate it. Because this is a deep void. On the other side is a deep void where there's energy stuck and people want to get away. So once one of them make contact with a conjurer or someone that know how to open doorways where these energies are residing, they are making promise. That's they're making contract. And that's what this music industry is about, you know? Well, you heard about sacrifice. It's not really sacrifice. It's just fuel. It's like a car that needs gasoline, that needs fueled. So they are fueling some of these entities, some of these sources. So they need a fuel in order to get something from them, because, you know, it's an illusion. Money ain't real. It's just compliance. So they want to feed off their entities. So that's why they call it the number one of these entities. It's called Baphomet. It's a Creole word. It's Baphomet, meaning the lower fake god. So again, this entity is in charge. And I'm gonna say this here. Some people, you know, that's my experience and I live it. For an example, I fall asleep with Michael Jackson music all the time. And one time I fall asleep with his music and never forget the song, Give It to Me. And I get to a place and I'm seeing a lot of people walking and I'm hearing the song, Give It to Me, Give It to Me. And I'm walking and I'm seeing, I thought I was Mike dressing in all black from distance, doing the hand like this, give it to me. And I'm seeing people hypnotized. And when I get close to him, I saw two horn underneath of his hair. I'm like, oh shit. So this is why you love Penn. That was Penn all along. The Baphomet, Penn. So this is the entity that helped him. Remember, Penn played music. This is
Mm-hmm.
the entity that Michael Jackson was dealing with. And it's not by mere coincidence. People were falling, you know, when Michael get on stage, people faint and all that. A force was actually helping him and also absorb some of these life force. And I don't want to hear what people tell me. It's a fact. Michael Jackson was not as simple as people think it is, you know? So the world is not
Yeah,
as simple.
yeah, Pan. I like to go
Michael
together. Pan, go ahead, Rod.
Michael Jackson was Big Chief. Now watch this. You just went down and explained about the Baphomet being Pan, right? Pan is the nature spirit of the forest. The Pan is also the patron saint of orphans, because the spirit of the forest, the forest is supposed to be able to provide a sustenance survival for children if they stranded in the forest. So this is where we get the stories of the different animals, a little boy raised by wolves, a little girl raised by lions, right? These stories is talking about the orders of Pan for the animals to protect the human children, right? This goes back to when we was in tune with nature. And this is why they changing the frequency in the music in order to tune us out of tune from the natural frequency of nature. Because if we tune into the natural frequency of nature, then we start to be able, as we age, we opening up the codons of a higher consciousness in our DNA. And they don't want us to do that. So they send us through the 12-step thinking detoxification program called school, which comes from Sheol. And Sheol is the dismal abyss, aka hell. So we sending our children to hell. In the arrested development that they teach them, we be thinking we talking to an adult, but we don't realize that they've been successfully programmed to be a perpetual 6-year-old in their thinking and their formation of thought. They never mature beyond 6 years old, but they have a higher capacity with age to follow the instructions given through academia. This is a control measure. When you know how the mechanics of it work, then if it's used against you, it can't work against you because you'll recognize the effect in your life. So when you see Pan or Baphomet, you're looking at an earth spirit, or ancient earth spirit that goes back to Pangea when we were one. known as the old man of the forest in Europe, but over here, known as the old man Mississippi, old man river, right?
My perspective on that, the word pan mean hours, pan. It mean hours. What I mean by that is this is where these folks, that's why they do the Bohemian Club. They are literally taking children to the forest to do ritual with them. This is obvious. Many children survive the many rituals. And also, this
Mhm.
entity's been collecting children. Like they are taking all of these missing children, they are literally taking it to these entities. This is not
Wow.
even, I know what you mean. What you are saying is when the time when we were in charge of controlling these entities, we were the one leading them because we were the masters. And again, when you said nature, nature was harmoniously built. We have many trees that is male, female. Look around, they cut down all the female trees. So even nature is distorted. We listen, there's a certain trees in Haiti that they extinct this tree completely. They completely remove this tree. They are even flying plane and drop chemicals so it never grows. So I'm just trying to say that the very
Wow.
nature that we used to have is completely destroyed and completely rewired. So the pan I'm talking about is is the entity these elite are serving. And these children is not being loved, it's not being fostered. As you
Right
said,
now,
this is the old world.
now
What you
let me
said
put
is the old world when we are in
now
harmony with everything.
now
Now,
from the conjure perspective. Let me point out what you're really seeing and explain the mechanics. Once you understand the mechanics of what they really doing, it's like a aha effect. When they sacrifice a child's blood to a patron saint of the child, you subjugate that god. It's toxic to him to receive the blood of a child, and it drives the rage of the god to express in the ritual. They not sacrificing it to the god. They sacrificing the child on the altar of the patron saint of children as a means to conjure magic, subjugate that particular god from becoming the restorer of balance. They wanted to use this is what they called the blood of the saints spilt on the altar. The saints is the innocent children, the pure blooded, innocent hearted children. And you subjugate Pan by spilling their blood in his name. That God becomes nullified in effect in his duties to the people.
I can see that perspective.
no,
So
I
we've
understand
been
this
right.
perspective.
So when we study high magic, this is what they doing, high magic. And as a practitioner of high magic myself, I know what they doing. But they working with other entities that is actually getting more energy from the humiliation of a god. They sucking his loose.
What you saying here, let me be very clear and careful. What you saying here is profound, but what you saying is being done in a time of war. Exactly. They will anger the God and harness that anger from the act. In the eyes of many, they would think the act is evil, but it's an act to anger the God and harness that energy back then. That
Okay,
is a
now,
different approach. It's a
yes,
different approach with the
it's
approach of
it's just
taking
what you
those
said, war. It's just what you said, war.
war.
Remember, before the war reached man, it was a war between the gods. The gods was already fighting the war, so they know how to humiliate each other, and now they puppet the people to fight their war proxy in the 3D. When you understand the mechanics of the high magic and how it worked, right? A lot of the stuff that they gave us and passed off as evil, like they called voodoo evil, they did it to keep us from even investigating what it is.
They don't want us to know what they don't want us to know their plan. That's pretty much stop the people from figuring the shit out.
Right. Now, they still have to put access in the public domain for us to discover what they're doing so we can solve the problem. What's my
Right.
purpose? What I tell you my job was solve the fucking problem, right? I don't want to put a band-aid on the bullet wound. It's not going to do much good. I want to do the surgery, extract the bullet, and restore the organs, sew the motherfuckers back up, and do the surgery correctly in order for the patient to survive with the least
Let,
amount of
now
negative
let me
side
ask you a
effects.
question. Let me ask you a question. If they would have told you what is the number one problem, or give me two problems that you were willing to do anything to be solved. So give me one of the problem that you were willing to be solved by any means necessary, magic or whatever. What would have been the? Give me one of the problem that you would like to be solved. I want to know them.
The misery. One of the grievance was misery. The misery grievance was given to us by Noble Drew Ali in the Circle 7. You even alluded to it earlier and mentioned the misery. That was a grievance. Well, in order to find the solution to the misery, you got to track it back to its source. When you realize there was a time there was no misery, then you know there is a possibility to eliminate misery because we used to didn't have misery. Because it wouldn't be a grievance if it was ancient. It's something new. Right?
So what was your approach to misery, to end misery? What is the approach about it?
This the discovery that 98% of the misery is a hypnotic program instituted by the society as a sociological mechanism to control a group of people in herd syndrome, because humans are natural pack animals. By doing this, you use the misery to create a condition called learned helplessness. And then you serve as a smiley face in order for the ones that's suffering from the learned helplessness to develop a Stockholm syndrome. Once they get the Stockholm syndrome, then they think that the oppressor is the greatest thing in the world. It's a psychological program. To break the psychological program, you have to teach the people to think for themselves so they can be auto-empowered. If they can empower themselves in who they are as a person by following their life purpose, it helps the collective self-correct. For everyone that through it, it helps 1,000. Right? So to end misery is to give people back the power of self. Because misery is a hypnotic program that make yourself suffer.
That's a good way of explaining. But
Mm-hmm.
my perspective on everything, I think our people, man, we need at least, if I can get 10,000 people, just 10,000 people, I can reverse this curse they put on us, man. I need 10,000 people and we can reverse this curse. I swear the curse is a command. It's a command. You know, that's a command out there,
The
and there's a
curse is broke.
time for it, and that's a preparation for it. Once we do this, we can reverse this, man.
And listen, I'm an old goon. I came and answered my legba. My legba said that he wasn't gonna be the one to do it. He left me the grievance. He said, this next dude coming after me not gonna be so nice. You're not a nice person when you solving the problem. People hate you for free while you solving the problem. There is a tribal tradition that's infallible in recovering the land for the people. All these people with the blood and the right don't remember the tribal tradition. But all of them together, if one of them can remember the tribal tradition, don't try to explain it, just do that shit. They'll figure it out when it's done. That's what I did. I remember the redemption process of the oral tradition to put it in the public domain so that every tribe on the land had equal access to the information. The information is critical because once we realize the deception that they use and how it works, that shit don't work on us no more. Solving the problem permanently, not temporarily, permanently. When you realize that you got a whole lot of rights, but if you don't exercise it don't even fucking matter. Then they wrote it in various different places where if you accumulate your inalienable rights and you just do what you're supposed to do for the clans, you got to be working on behalf of all of the clans because divide and conquer is the problem.
So, what's your perspective in this what I call inducing diaspora war with FBA with the whole issues of you not black from here, you not this and that, but no smoke for the Jews, no smoke for white people,
I got
but the
smoke for
smoke is
every last one of them motherfuckers. I don't have no favoritism. I will put my foot in all of their asses equally. I'm no respecter of person, and I'm gonna protect every one of the ones of us, even the ones that don't like me. I'm fighting for they shit for them, and they don't even know it. I don't care. I'm still gonna fight for it. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. They don't have to like me. I just got to be effective in this mission.
I think, man, I never thought we will be in the position of so much division among our own community. And it's sad in me. It shows that our people somehow it's falling apart. I think technology is no longer technology. It's just 100% conjure, like just straight up magic, man. This is conjuring, where they are literally having energy controlling our perceptions. And matter of fact, we are in a different reality, man. I think what's happening right now in America or in the world is it's like wow. It's like a dream to me. You never thought certain shit gonna resurface and even having people behaving in a manner like you're like, yo, is that person really doing this? Is that person really sit back for a quick second and think about their behavior right quick? And this person just analyze what the hell they are doing. You know, it's sad to me, man. I think now people are celebrating like, you know, they want to fight each other over Juneteenth. It kills me though. It's like, bro, how you want to celebrate slavery when you were always here? You were before these people. You were warrior. You have history. You were emperors. You were queen. You were chief. How you want to say you celebrate you as a property? They just allow you to be free. Like, yo, you would have thought our people would be
It's a
so far
program.
beyond this crap, bro. And they are just out
Look,
there back battle all over again. Like, what are
listen,
we doing?
that's a program. That's literally a program. Give us the celebratory days of our misery. And what do we constantly remember when we celebrate? Misery.
Misery.
So now you are in a place called victim, but you don't know it yet. You now in the position of the victim, the lamb at the slaughter. This is why they play us like they do. Because everything that we talk about when we refer to the slave narrative makes us perpetual victims that can't do nothing for ourselves. And as long as we keep that in the collective consciousness, we can't correct it in real life. We gonna always be the fucking victim. But if you don't want to be the victim, you got two options. You can be the victimizer or you can be the hero that just solves the fucking problem.
Solve the problem,
Because
man.
it doesn't feel good to be bullying people because you got on a shiny piece of metal. If you got a conscience and you pure hearted, it doesn't feel good to mistreat people.
It's just a bottom line, you know. The question is this: who you are mistreated is people that never did anything wrong to you. Matter of fact, these are you and the people are the same, y'all. You open your door, you go outside. These are people that walk within your community. They are right there next to you, but somehow you've been programmed, bro. I swear to you, man, technology is doing the mind control like we never seen before. I don't know if these phone is the EMF they are emitting, bro. I'm telling you, I've seen behaviors that I never thought could be possible only under mind control. And I think a lot of our people is really going under mind control heavily these days because of these
Okay, now
gadgets.
I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you two tools or two sources of information to investigate. Right. The first thing is this: everybody think those are 5G towers. They're not 5G towers. They never successfully finished developing 5G. So what the because these towers, they're ELF towers. Extreme low frequency emitting towers. They are also affixed with something called voice to skull technology. People thinking that they 5G towers that's designed to do something 5G, they never developed it. It never got developed. We in perpetual 4G. It's telling you 5G on your phone, but most of the phones don't even have a 5G chip because it's never been made. Those are ELF towers. Under the MK Ultra program, they developed the technology to project the sounds and thoughts into your head from a remote location using the sound wave frequency and a voice being emitted from the other side. It's the same as the two cups on the wire talking on the telephone. They just use your skull as the receiving cup to project sound into your brain over a frequency.
That's right.
Don't believe me, look it up. It's called voice to skull technology.
That's not even. I mean, this is 100% fact. Matter of fact, you can know this about your phone. You think about something is right there in commercial or being advertised in real time, and it was just a thought in the phone right there. That's what it is.
They start experimenting with the ELF towers in the community in the 1970s. But the military was working on it since the 1950s. It was part of the MK Ultra program.
Project Paperclip.
No, MK Ultra, mind control research.
Yeah, but they came over with that Project Paperclip.
Oh yeah,
right?
That was when they imported the Nazis information on it.
Yeah,
Right.
Over here,
So when you study it over here, you run into Freud, but before Freud, you got Dr. Benjamin Rush. Right. And then you have the French author Gustave Le Bon that's talking about how to make and control crowds of people. Right. His seminal work being called The Crowd. Because it's telling they doing the research they had already did the research, now they strategizing how to use it. Right. When we go in and we do our research and we trying to figure out the mechanics of the traps they got our brains in that's inflicting this self-inflicted misery. They use conjure magic to make women not get along. What kind of that's some real broad shit to do. They don't want the women to get along, so they sent another woman to break a mirror at the crossroads to break up the sisterhood. Right? I had to make them close that shit because I'm trying to solve the problem. Jesselina's Bookman and Toussaint never closed out the conjure in Haiti, so they were stuck in a warlock. A warlock is when you don't have access to the wealth. And you see it in the condition. Now, when you go back and you do the research, you find that at the conclusion of the Haitian Revolution, the soldiers went to Florida because we was fighting guerrilla wars. The priests went to New Orleans because we was fighting conjure wars. What they call priests. The Voodoo practitioners that was highly skilled. Right? We was working together And the mainstream public was being fed the false narrative that we were separate. Right? We don't even know that before the continent over there was named Africa, Africa was a province of Brazil. We don't know that because the way they tell the historical narrative, they don't want us to know that they were shuffling us around on our own land.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, if you go back and you look up certain stuff like the intra-American slave trade, it starts showing you where they was taking New Yorkers to Louisiana, and they was taking people from Louisiana to Cuba, and they was taking people from Cuba to Virginia. And then they told us it was a transatlantic slave trade. I said, you a transatlantic lie.
Just to make sure, the 1804 story is all fake. It's not real. This is a reconstruction. All these times it was literally we did not went to war. It's they gotta make this up to tell you that we were slave. That's what this revolution is to tell you were slave and you revolt. It was all made up crap. We have not only documentation, we have like
Hey,
the cannons.
before you go into the documentation, because you're going to go into the documentation, I want to touch on the psychology for a minute. Okay, Toussaint Louverture using high military strategic capabilities, and they said he was an escaped slave. Right? That's the narrative bullshit they tell us, ain't it? Now think about this for a minute. This man has the military prowess that when Napoleon sent his brother, he whooped their ass. That don't sound like no illiterate slave to me. I'm sorry, I can't buy that narrative.
But like you said, it's a narrative. None of this is true. Napoleon never exists. This is a reconstruction.
Thank
The
you.
person that created the story, his name is Thomas Medieu. He was the one that created the Haitian history. I have his picture. I'll show you. Napoleon, when you said Napoleon Bonaparte, it's come from the Bonaparte. Now, remember, when you said Bonaparte, it mean the people that like Napoleon, Creole mean the people that wear the lion skin, kings, emperors. And when you said Bonaparte, it mean the people that is the good, the noble one that's apart from the rest. That's what is the name mean.
Okay.
The people that wear the lion skin that is good and apart from them for the rest. Let me show you what Napoleon mean. Give me 1 second. I don't know. Did you guys see what I showed before? Do you guys see it?
The map, right?
Yeah. Do you guys saw the map,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
That's something else you was right about them. The map was turned upside down and backwards for the confusers.
Do you see that?
It's like a star.
Okay. This is the Imperium coat of arms.
Yeah, I remember seeing that because I had commented that most people don't know that the lion was native to the Americas. It was originated from the Americas.
Yeah.
You see this? This is Chicago. This is Chicago. The entrance of Chicago.
Detroit Lions. Oh shit, son. Yeah.
Detroit Lions. That's right. So when you said Napoleon, it mean we are the lion skin, the lion people. The lion represent us as the Imperium people. That's why lion always there. When you see coming to America, they got the big lion. The king have the lion on them. They trying to talk about. Remember, lion is from here. Lyro. It's called Lyro. It's from here. Before they genetically downgraded, and it looked like this version that is today. So therefore, they got to come up with a fake story. Remember, France become an independent nation. Remember, it was Francia. Francia is a province from Gallia. The Gallia is us. Remember, the model of Gallia is a Creole word. Oni soit qui mal pensé. Mean anyone that thinking that get it twisted. God is our rights. Because we were saint. When you said two saint, this is describing all the saints. Remember, the saints are the leaders. Today, you will call them kings, you will call them general, they call them saints. That's why you got so many saints everywhere. You got San Francisco, San John, San Martin, St. Lucia, San Antonio, what else? San Francis, So many saints over there. That's why I call Toussaint mean all the saint. Louverture mean the opening of all the saints. When you have empire, saints are the leaders, saints are the governors from the imperium. That's why they have the order of the saints. That's how they call them. They call them saints. So therefore, they come up with a fictitious story to hide 1,000 years of our ancestors ruling the world. They don't want us
That's
to
right.
know that. So they bury. They put a one. So the calendar that we use and they made up 1,000 year. They hide. So we have canon all over Haiti. Cannons.
Right.
That is date 200. 200 with the letter I in front of it. The I stand for Imperium.
Yeah.
So how come we been there before Jesus? We have canon before Jesus in the year
Yeah.
200. We talk
Yeah.
about mechanical canon. Canon that's moved with mechanical structure, meaning in the year 200, we already have technology that's so far advanced. In the 200,
Hey, I can play
okay?
it for you
So
right
you think
here.
1492 is the beginning? Let me show. Let me take it way back before
Union. But they don't believe me. They're like, nah, we
when you said French, it means.
remember for people that never know what you call this.
So you think 1492 is the beginning? Let me show. Let me take it way back before 1492. They were moving around because y'all really up there though.
Union. But they don't believe me. They're like, no, because they would never tell us that. Because look, I'm going to show you how they are making shit up. They are making shit up. But we caught they ass because if you inherit the language, you can catch. Now, folks, look at the technology they have. Look at the intricate technology. This is not a regular weird cannon. This is an insane high-level technology cannon. This shit got machinery that moves the cannon like this shit can maneuver up and down and up. And look at the date they create this cannon, folks. So once again, I'm not gonna argue with nobody. I want people to explain to me how come we have this level of technology? How come we have that date, but somehow we were bought here by slaves? Now, for some people here that don't understand, and look out there, it's I, okay? So the year, this is year 2000, this is year 275. Once again, this is year 2.
You can check out that whole thing on the Voodoo TikTok. Go check him out. Yeah, but I just wanted to show him that receipt that you got
oh yeah,
on
man.
there.
But like you said, they want to see it, they can see it over there next
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if y'all want to do a live on TikTok, y'all want to show up to my page or whoever, let me know. I'm a planet ahead. So you guys will
yeah,
be able to share a screen where y'all can share some informations and all that. It'll be
yeah.
much more easier as far as showing, imagery. It's easy to bring documents in some sort. But yeah, my brother Rod, this is a fake history, bro. They trying to bury the 1,000 years of our ancestors, what we accomplished together in our army. Our army was called the Indigenous Army. They don't want us to know we were one people. They don't want us to know we worked together. They don't want us to know we were global citizens. And everywhere you go around the world, you saw our what we call our coat of arm. Coat of arm mean the logo of our accomplishment. That's why the U.S. removed the seal. The original U.S. seal is us. Is what we use. They remove it because they trying to hide all their trait. They don't want us to know exactly what we accomplished because they have a story of we were slave. They had a slave revolt. So somehow you got a group of slaves that defeat all world superpower, but somehow they were slave. How they get the resources, how they have the ability to do all that, but they play with our face because it's what? It's a programming, like you said, indoctrination.
You gotta remember, we wasn't allowed to learn to read and write, according to them, right? So he wasn't studying military strategy in books because he wasn't. If they following a narrative, this is why
Right.
critical thinking is important. He's defeating the French army, who's being helped, but the Spanish and the English, right? With no education, never, no military training. He just know how to whoop them.
They don't make no sense. The funny thing is the story about Toussaint. Toussaint was an emperor. I have one of those ancient, like a KKK, a track station what they use for propaganda against Haiti in the past. And the KKK told you in 1912, okay, they have the Emperor Toussaint Louverture, Emperor II. Toussaint Louverture II was an emperor in 1915. 1915, we still have emperor in America. And they show you all the map, all these territory was under IT. And the KKK, which is them, that's when they told you they invade Haiti. This was a coup d'etat. In 1915, when they told you, oh, the US went to Haiti. No, this was a coup d'etat. Okay, in the little area they call DR today, this is where they stole this area, stole the land, and they still got the same partner. They repopulated the area, they committed the genocide, pushed the people away, and they are bringing Arab, the very same structure. When you said Arab, you talk about the Lebanese, the Turks, the same Ottomans. And these are the people you call Latino today. The Latinos or the Ladino. These are the descendant of Arab. That's the same Arab descendant today telling you they are indigenous of America. Because this is all a scam. They all working together. And their goal is to denationalize us, reverse engineer our identity. And we've been victimized ever since. So most of these stories are made up crap. Friends become independent after the Second World War. They were still under us by what you call Albania. Today you call it Germany. Okay. So all of these territory was us. And even what you called Hitler, all of these guys were black people. They were all one of us. That was us fighting. That's why they'll tell you the number one partner for Haiti in the ancient time of war was Germany. No shit. We know that because we were an empire, meaning we would have many kingdoms. We are all working together. And when the empire fall, that's when we as black people, we don't have nothing anymore as far as control. Only the select backstabbers or the dirty one of us, those that betrayed us, they are the one. That's why they are hiding. They're not putting themselves out there. They clone white people to be their servant, and then they become the hiding hands. Okay. That's why, to me, here in America, in the state, the strongest organization, I don't care what people tell me. People can say what they want. For what I know, the Boule are the untouchable. Trust me when I say this. The Boule or the entire, remember the name, it's a Creole name, mean burn. Okay, and they're using Tartaria as the animal, the human, I don't know how to call it. It's almost like a griffith with a human head. This is ancient Tartaria as their so-called logo. They are the untouchable here. Trust me. The Boule is not what you think. White people is not ahead of the Boule. Believe me, there are some of these untouchables out here. So these were the backstabbers. These are the one that, joined force with the outsiders to overthrow the family because they were not allowed to marry in certain status, like Rod was saying. They were not permitted to marry into royalness. And for that, they put an end to the structure. We went from a bloodline culture, which is imperium, royal, what you call monarch, which is bloodline. And now we went to take turns because it's called preside, a president. It's to take and constitute. They constitute over an ordinance. So they destroy a culture to bring about another culture, which is piracy.
You got to remember the Constitution is a contract.
That's it.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. And the contract had to have an expiration. And this is the 250-year celebration, but it was only supposed to be 200 years.
That's why they were pushing for this race war. That's why they so want this race war so
bad. The purpose of the race war was to prove we didn't never discover who we were. Because in order for us to prevent the race war, we have to understand that it was only a tool to divide and conquer, and that they indoctrinated these people with one ideology and these people with another.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a small handful of pale faces from the North that can trace their family back to a slave owner. Most of them came what we call post-emancipation era. Most of the people came with the Ellis Island immigration.
There you go, right? Ellis Island.
Right. And then but the people that they was trying to pass off as us, and I keep telling people they brought them over here with them. That came in through something called the Chino slave trade, right? The South Pacific slave trade.
Galleon, Vanilla Galleon.
So they was bringing in these people that we call them $5 Indians or Siberians, but they was also bringing in Huns, as in Attila the Hun, because that's who they was fighting over on that side of the planet. When they were taking a prisoners of war, they were selling them over here to each other on the China Road. And then they was putting them to work as a labor force on building the railroads. It just so happened that the tribes that was responsible for working the iron was the skilled tradesmen over the laying of the railroad. So now you got big, what they call him big, but he don't got a birthright to the land though. This is the illusion that they giving us by even creating the concept of a Native American. It's another tool of divide and conquer. It's strategy at its finest. So when we wake up to who we is, we know that they was using the indoctrination of the paleface with the racist ideology. And the crazy part about that is the most vile and wicked races was octoroons that was resentful of their own black blood, so they wanted to torture the rest of the niggas because they was in what they call blue vein society. But we don't be knowing all this stuff because most of us rely on them to educate us, and they educate us all around the stuff that we talking about today. Because the stuff we talking about today, when our people start learning this stuff, and then they start knowing automatically where to look, we all collectively start healing the earth as our responsibilities require us to figure out a way to initiate as many of us possible to want it in our hearts for the earth to be whole, just like we want to be whole.
The best
And
way
to
to
feed that energy, right? And to feed that energy back to the earth is fertilizer to the whole of the planet. And the more of us doing that, the more of the earth start to heal faster, which makes it more unfit for the parasitic entity that's taking up the space of the chosen ones.
I think, to be honest, the way our people is being programmed pretty much mean the vibration that become the singularity of most of us. When we go down to the earth, we not vibrating with the earth. Matter of fact, too many of us got so much resentful energy transition, too many beef, too many issues with one another. We become toxic even when we got buried, we become the very toxic of the soil because of our level of experiences is not in harmonious order. People dying with so much grunge, family members transition with so much grunges. None of us, I mean, I'm not saying none, the majority of us transitioning, not transitioning for the better good or for the greater good of the family. We transition hoping and wishing that we could have more time so we can do something that's going to bring more detrimental to one another, not better one another, more anger, want to feel like shit, I wish I can be healthy or coming back to do this. And man, like, bro, I think severely coming together is the best way that Mother Nature will reward us. But that's where the major problem is these days. Too many divisions. They are promoting division, period. They are promoting the destruction from one another. They are promoting we hurting each other. So I think the moment that we decide that we're going to short every door on everybody else and we're going to focus on us, if you wear this suit, it happens to be black, I will say, forget about any story we heard about our ancestors. If our ancestors was doing wrong with each other, if we were doing this wrong, but since we are here, we have the opportunity to correct the wrong of our ancestors. If we were beefing, let's put this shit aside. Let's do better. Let's do what our ancestor failed to do. Let's put our resource together. Let's go build. We have plenty lands all over the Caribbean that we can create what we call our industry, where we don't need to go to China to do mass replication, duplication, or production. We can go back door in the Caribbean, so many places, Jamaica, Haiti. Let's do this. Let's focus on us. Let's spend our dollar with each
So,
other. Let's do this. I think Mother Nature will reward us greatly if we do that.
and it's ironic that you would say that because under the matriarchy, everybody is going to be encouraged to do business with each other first in your local area before you expand out beyond. Because the whole understanding of how wealth travel and how you can benefit most from wealth is not taught to 90% of us. Right? So we have to recondition people to know the proper utilization of wealth. First of all, when we talk about light bill, gas bill, water bill, right? All of that's supposed to be paid for by the government with tax money. But the real source where they supposed to be paying for it is the mineral wealth of the land is supposed to be able to supply those things to the people. But because the people don't know that you ain't supposed to privatize nature, the wealth of the land is for the to provide for the health of the people. The matriarchy demands that before you outsource the wealth of the land, you have to first take care of the people where you got your resource from. So let's say I own a mining company in Carolina, in North Carolina, right? I wouldn't be allowed to ship my product outside of the Carolinas until after first we had made sure everybody in North Carolina was properly situated with the resource that was available. That took all them $1 trillion companies and made $1 trillion families that way. And this is where our strength used to be, is in strong family bonds. So when we made marriage arrangements, people don't believe in arranged marriage no more. Marriage arrangements was done to control the wealth and to control the asset and the political power of the land. This is what they was fighting against. They gave us the name chieftain for we didn't name our leaders. We called them stuff like mama, daddy, big mama, Uncle Joe. We ain't had no name for it like the ceremonial names they give us now. That was only to do business with people that called themselves kings and queens. We can't do business unless we have an equivalent title to make us be peers in order to do what we call a cross-board business, mano a mano, face to face. So we needed to start labeling people as chieftains, as being equal and opposite of the king, right? This was part of the feather versus fez paradigm.
The
Free
children of
white
the sun.
persons in law, right? Free white persons in law versus them black clans, like the Black Eagle clan, the Black Wolf clan, the Black Bear clan, right? Them old Mississippians that use the animals as the totems in order to communicate in the general public about putting down his dog so all of the tribesmen know what he's talking about, but all of the foreigners think he's just talking about a damn dog. You understand? So the codes be being passed between us, through us, from the ancestors to the future in a flea flicker. Razzle dazzle play. Everybody grab the ball, run the play. Just long as they don't catch us before we get to the end zone. Right? So we take these pieces, we get to the end zone, and then we score the touchdown. It's just that simple. So we all got a piece.
We all got
And we
a
ran
piece.
the razzle dazzle play. We just putting the pieces together now.
Man, you know what? I think we're gonna have to do this another time, another place, whenever y'all want to do it. But my time is up. I appreciate this. Let's just not make this a one-time thing. So I definitely come back.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like I
yeah,
said,
yeah.
we can do this on TikTok whenever. Just let me know. We can plan it ahead of time, so we can just definitely have a lot of things to show. He'll be an amazing one ahead. But I appreciate it. Rod, appreciate you,
It's good
beloved.
having you, my
It's
brother.
always a pleasure. It's an honor to have you to be in your space together. To just have this little chop it up. My big brother, man, young elder. Appreciate you too in return, brother. So you
Hey,
guys let me know, man. I'm working on the animation right now. I don't know if you already seen it in my page. the first
Mhm.
part. I'm a
Mhm.
filmmaker. I've been making stuff. Like, my goal is to tell our story, because Hollywood only got us doing one thing. We were slave, pimp, pimp, pimp,
Mhm.
and prostitution, and
Right.
made. That's the only genre they had us, moving forward when it comes to the space of creativity whatsoever. So I become a filmmaker because I want to tell our story outside. Matter of fact, we don't even have sci-fi movie as black people. Tell me one sci-fi movie that is all black or a black director. The only sci-fi movie I remember, they even yanked that shit off the screen. Like, you couldn't even find this movie. Not one of this stream has actually played this movie. It's Media Man. I think Media Man is the greatest superhero movie of all time, because it actually attacked what we going through in our community, or what's really going on in a black experience. And shout out to Townsend to act, because he did it himself, and they blackballed the guy. So just trying to tell you, black creativity is under attack. Black creativity is to be persecuted. And that's my goal, man, to try to paint a light in our story, in our imagination, the I, my, Jai nation. Tap on the magical nation and bring forth a reality that our people will enjoy, because we've been programmed about these gangster bull crap that 50 pushing, these thugs, these gangster shit that promote violence and get our children get locked up, or inducing the lack of tolerance for one another, where we will, unload a clip, unload a Drake on one another, but the oppressor can just out here walking. We still have so-called, even though I know it's psyop, we have Trayvon Martin got so-called unalive, but this dude walking around till today, and nobody set an example out of his ass. It just showed that we are a community that anybody can do whatever with us. Even though I don't believe in the story, I believe
Wow.
in the psyop though, but still, it still have some sort of an influence in who we are as a people. Okay,
Right.
that people, whatever community can stump on us, there's no repercussion, there's no consequences for anybody else that willing to do some arms or willing to disrespect us. And but when it comes to one another, we quick to do something bad to each other. But
Yeah,
everybody
that's
else
right.
get a pass.
Hey,
But
you know
that's
what
my
that
goal for
remind
the
me
people,
of?
man.
You know what that remind me of? I mess with dogs, right? Back in the old days, the way that a game dog was, if it wasn't another game dog, he not gonna fight it. It was a waste of his time.
Mhm.
But if he's seen another game dog, you can't stop him. You can't stop him. They see each other. It's on sight. That's us. We all know we gang. We won't. We with the shits even when we say we ain't with the shits.
Hmm.
Like them good Christian brothers that be so sweetheart, nice, and then you mess around and you say or do the wrong thing, they will whoop your ass. Cause we really with the shits. So when we see each other, we know a game dog when we see one. And sometimes the
Right.
overwhelming excitement make us forget that if we work together as two game dogs, we can get 10 times further than one.
That's the law right there. That's the law and the principle that we got all messed up. But anyway, Rod, I hope you saw
Yeah.
my little documentary movie. It's 7 minutes. I have a trailer. I have like a short versions of it, and I'm working in the major part out of it. So I'm about the story of, how we got here. So I start from the very beginning. I have 4 parts. So it's a lot of work. It cost me a lot of time, and as a praiser for animations and AI work and all that the whole project, out of my 4, I did 4 so far. This project cost me close to $1 million to do, as far as like the
And
laboring and the resource to do it. I'm telling you, man, it's a dedication to do, like, when it come down to us,
where
bro.
do I find it at on your TikTok?
Um, it's actually, I have a lot of clips on TikTok, but if you want to watch the full, it's in my Patreon. But send me your email, I'll send it to you anyway, so you can go see and give me a comment. Let me know what you think about it. So just shoot me information. I'm gonna send it to you, Young. I'm gonna send
Yeah.
it to you, all right? And
Yeah,
then
I
from
got
there
I
you
got it
can
in the
pass.
Patreon. I got your Patreon link in the descriptions for people that want to go check it out, right? So you can just go right down to the descriptions, scroll right down to the Patreon, click on it. Also, I got his TikTok right there where you want to click on that, and his other links, YouTube links. Also, y'all, we had about 7,000 people on tonight. Everybody send Raw and the brother $5 a piece, $1, whatever you got. Somebody, hey, we need like about 20 people. Send them $10. And then,
man.
yes, if you got it, man, send them $100. Send them the blue note, C note, man. Send them a couple of them C notes. Everybody send them
3,000,
some donations, man.
100,000,
This shit was
all
lit.
that.
All right, go ahead, brother. Y'all got anything y'all want to say before we close out?
Nah, man, I'm good, money, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, man, next time always gonna be the greatest. And I just hope that we
Yeah,
have the ability to show more of these, imagery, because people would
yeah,
like to see some of these
yeah,
receipts and stuff like that.
yeah,
But it can only be done on TikTok. I don't know if you can broadcast it on TikTok at the same time. And
yeah,
there's a way for
I'm
that.
gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can bridge the gap on that perspective,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
man. But
yeah.
once again, shout out to everybody that's here. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Rod. Thank you, my brother Elder. So I'm gonna
Hey,
Hey
catch you
man, it
guys
was
next
good.
time.
It
All
was
right.
good. It was
all
good
right.
meeting you. Good break
Appreciate you,
some
brother. Me too,
time with you,
man.
my man. I appreciate it.
Honor,
Yeah,
honor, my
two
brother.
powerful chiefs on the land just chopped it up, y'all. Chief Raw Hayes, the Voodoo Chief, man. Two powerful chiefs on the land doing the work, man. This
You
was a
already know,
good
man.
meet, good collab.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
everybody send those donations right now, man. I got the Angry Chief donations. The Angry Chief 101, and then Rod Skype 8. Cause somebody said somebody had created another Cash App. They're trying to scam for fraud shit because it's almost the same as yours, except
I
they
think
added
it's
a
like
one or something to the back.
I
Huh?
think it's like I think it's like 8 or 10 of them on this.
Bam.
That's similar to man. When I did man, I was the only one.
Okay. Yeah. So hey, make sure it's a Skype ape like this on the screen, and the brothers Voodoo Chief is the Angry Chief 101, y'all. So and he got the PayPal too. It's in the I got that in the link in the descriptions. And Roy got the PayPal too, which is Skype 801. Right? I got that in the descriptions, I think. Yeah, so we out, y'all. We gonna catch y'all back later, y'all. We gonna be back with some more Young TV, man. Free to Malachi Z York, the master teacher. Free to L Rookie Jeff Ford, man. Free Larry Hoover. We out. One love, one heart, Wadu.
What do?
Never have it been made so clear.